This is Fashayo, the Earth Mother of EarthMotherGuidance.com. Today I wanted to talk to y'all about expectations. So, I want to talk about it from the point of view of relationships. So I just tell you the story that helped me learn about expectations. So, my uncle got remarried. This lady was already established in her life. They were older when they got married, so she was already a retired school teacher, I believe. So anyway, when she married him, her thing was, I already have everything I need. She already had her house, her car, she had enough money to live quite comfortably. She just wanted a partner to share it with. And she expressed to him basically that that's what he was there for. You're here so that I can have somebody to share these vacations with, to share a home with, to share, the good stuff with, the laughter, to grow old with or whatever. And basically she set an expectation that this is what I want you for. If you agree to be this for me, if you agree to enter into this relationship with a clear understanding of what my expectations are, then also understand that once you cease to meet those expectations, the relationship, I can't promise it's going to continue. And at first, a lot of people, may think, especially women, we may think that sounds really harsh. And I can't believe somebody would say something like that, whatever. And I'll tell you a little bit of my stuff. I mean, y'all already know I've been married before. And in my first marriage, I literally got married because I was lonely. And because my dad told me it was better to marry than to burn. And so the guy and I weren't like officially living together, but we were spending more time in one dwelling than apart. But really the foundation of a relationship was just loneliness. So, and I never spoke forth an expectation. So really, I guess my only true expectation was for me not to be lonely. Well, I quickly found out that I was still lonely. You can be around somebody and still be lonely, because it's the quality. And so now in this marriage, I'm married for love. I love my husband then, I love him now. It's a more mature love now because we have grown together. It's been 8 years of marriage, and I think he says that we were together like 2 years before that. That's up for discussion, another story. But but anyway, it's a more mature love. But still, I never set an expectation. I was in my late 20s when we got married. Or when we were together. I know I was in my late 20s. And I remember just, thinking like, love is enough. I'm just so in love, whatever. And then you date, you get married. For us, I already had 2 children. He has an older son. And so, life happens. Bills come, you see crap about them that you just like, oh, I'm punching your face. You work past all those things and your love matures. But then at some point, you hit a space where you realize, where you're like, well, he's not doing this. And he's like, well, she ain't doing that. And a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, you never told me you wanted me to do that. I didn't know you wanted me to do that. Or I've been doing this the whole time we've been married. Or I was doing this the whole time we were dating. What has happened is nobody set true and clear expectations for the relationship or for the person. And so you were just so in love or in lust, which is fine too. Hey, that you didn't make it clear what you needed to be happy. Like for me now at 38, I'm excited. 38. At 38 years old, I'm very clear on what my expectations are. what I'm trying to figure out right now is, okay, so when I voice my expectations, in my opinion, he has the freedom still to accept the expectations or not. But I also have the freedom to decide whether or not I'm going to accept him not accepting my expectations. For instance, if, let's say he's not working, which he is, but let's say he's not working and he don't want to work. He don't feel like it. And I say, well, I expect for you to work. If I'm working, I expect for you to work too. And he's like, well, I ain't been working the whole time we've been together and I don't want to work. He has the freedom to say that. However, I also have the freedom to decide, am I going to continue to put up with this, or am I going to end it, walk away? Now, mind you, you can also walk away peacefully. So, but, so we have to explore those things. Once you're already in a relationship, I say you still express your expectations, but just understand that there's a discussion, and there's a discussion that's going to have to be had. Well, it don't have to be had, but it would be better for you to have have the conversation about the expectations. A wonderful time for you to sit down with your mate and have a discussion about expectations is when everybody's calm. Sometimes you can set a date. We need to talk about this at this point. Sometimes you might just want to set a time. Sometimes you just want to set the mood. Like if you already have something that you do when y'all need to have a discussion to signal your partner, or y'all might have set days of the week when y'all sit down and have the discussion about the tougher topics, then go for it. But I do think the discussion needs to be had. Now, for those of you who are not in relationships right now, it would behoove you to have a discussion, a very clear discussion about what your expectations for the relationship are. And you need to, looking back, I would suggest that you have this discussion from almost a business mindset. You already love the person. You're already attracted to the person. So that's taken care of. People don't get divorced most of the time, or separate, or whatever they do, most of the time because they're not in love anymore. Most of the time the love is gone because of other stuff. I think it's the Bible. I get my holy books mixed up sometimes, but I think it's the Bible that says it's little foxes that spoil the vine. So it's those little tiny things that ruin little by little by little, and then it's this big problem where people notice the big problem, but they missed all the little stuff. They didn't tend the garden. So in the physical regard for physical expectations, do you expect for your mate to stay in high school physical condition? Now, we all understand that all of our bodies change, but if you met your mate and he was working out and he was all tight and everything, is that something you expect? If so, understand that there's going to have to be some wiggle room for aging. But are you willing to cook the way he ate, to keep that body, to maintain that body? Are you going to make space for him to spend as much time at the gym, or whatever he does to keep his body like that? Are you going to make space for that? If you think you don't care, then look at his family. Because if you don't care about his body, you just so in love, you just like, baby, if you not tight no more, long as you don't look whatever your boundaries are, look around at his family. You gonna see his future, what he gonna look like, and just keep those things in mind. Because remember, if you one of those folks that's like, I'm in this forever, this is unconditional love is not something I believe in. But if you one of those people, just look around his family and see, because that's what he gonna look like. Mental. So when my husband and I got married, he was in school. Well, when we met, we both met in school. We were in class together. I'm not really a school person. I'm more of an autodidact. I'm more self-taught. He's a school head. But see, what I expected was for him to also be self-taught, for him to become a seeker of knowledge, meaning things that were important to him, things that interest him, and even for him to introduce himself to other things that were interesting to him that he didn't know about before, for him to be open to conversations and things like that. Now, that I do think is something that I made pretty clear. And once that door was open, I mean, he is like a reader. He's a heavy reader now. But you have to decide, like, is that something important? I mean, because let's be honest. Well, let me not put it that way. I know for me as a woman, I speak for my stuff. Being mentally stimulated is extremely important. It's like I even tell my kids, stupid ain't cute. I can't. Stupid is so, like, it is not attractive. I mean, you can be the cutest thing in the world and open your mouth and just ruin it. Because I guess because of my reading and research and exploration and study, I can hold my own in most circles. I haven't been in a circle yet that I couldn't hold my own in, but understand I don't necessarily open my mouth the entire time I'm in circles either, because I also know how to learn as much as I teach. But this is something that as women we have to consider, because remember, a lot of boys who grow into men, hopefully, are not pushed as much in school as we are. And a lot of times guys are in school and they are able to ride through on sports or whatever, and they're not really voracious learners. And a lot of times what we find as women is that we grow up and we end up with mates who are not our equals intellectually. And you also want to consider that, do you want him to keep being that way? Like, do you want to set time aside where y'all sit down together and read together? Those are things that you really want to consider. Do you expect for him to attain more degrees even after y'all are married? The mental stuff. Oh God, critical thinking is a lost art. So is that something that you're going to expect, is for him to be a critical thinker? Basically, that means that even if you don't have the facts, the book knowledge, are you going to expect for him to be able to reason his way around situations? You know, because critical thinking is hard to come by these days. It's so hard to come by. Now they're teaching it as classes in school. I never thought that I would see the day when critical thinking was a course. Anyway, emotional. This is a big one. Okay, so in my first marriage, my ex-husband was very emotionally unintelligent. I never heard him like do a true like uncontrolled belly laugh, like, you know, where you are cackling, cracking up. And I'm goofy, like I laugh at almost anything, and a belly laugh ain't real hard to get out of me. Well, his was more like that was it. And if it wasn't that, he was mad or combative. So anytime I laughed, you know, I got the, God, you're so stupid, that's not even funny, blah, 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 you know. Release. So I knew what I wanted for my next marriage. I needed somebody who was who could express, I always say, express a full range of emotion. I need you to have more than two settings. Okay, so my husband now is very emotionally intelligent. I mean, he is wonderful with being able to express a full range of emotion. And it is so refreshing. Like, I don't have to guess like what's underneath the anger. I don't have to dig. And what the other benefit is even though he's an introvert, because he's emotionally not intact, emotionally, y'all had a long night last night with his dreams and stuff, but because he's connected to his emotions, the full range of his emotions. He's also an excellent communicator. Excuse me. You always know what he's thinking. Not always, but he's able to tell you exactly what the issue is, and he's able to hear you equally as well. So we did physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Okay. So with spirituality, Lord, I thought it was a bug on me. Y'all was finna see me dance. So with spirituality, this one can be tricky. So my husband and I both started out in the church, and then through a series of crazy events, we just decided that wasn't, probably I decided, probably, just being honest. We decided to do house church instead. It was only us. I was taking notes from a client that I had at the time. She did house church, but that didn't feel like an option. So every Sunday we would get up and we would do the scriptures or whatever. We would discuss it, and then we'd go on about our business. Well, what tends to happen when you study without somebody chatting away in your ear telling you what to think is that you tend to actually form your own opinions because critical thinking. So then that was when I really started exploring religion and spirituality on my own. So there was a time when there was quite a divide between us, and it didn't cause, I don't remember it causing any like arguments or anything, but I'm trying to think. I don't think we got into any major arguments. But he did tell me that he was always like, she going to hell. Oh my God, she is going to hell, you know. But it was kind of difficult because it's like I'm going, you know, my spirituality and exploration and stuff, and he like, I ain't going. You know, so at that point, I was kind of functioning my, you know, air and water cusp signs, and he's like grounded in his earth sign. I ain't going nowhere. This is what I do, kind of thing. So anyway, but I've heard couples doing two things. Some of them stay together because they're completely free with they're completely cool with the freedom and diversity of the other person, and other people split. So spiritually, you do want to make your expectations clear. And my suggestion to you would be to leave yourself open, because I'm saying now, from almost 40 years old, you think you know a lot when you're in your 20s, but you just don't. You feel smart, like you know more than everybody around you, and you don't. You just don't. I mean, for all you're trying, baby. We see you trying, but you just don't. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. So my suggestion would be to make sure that one of your expectations is that you are able to move freely and fluidly through your spiritual journey, especially if you are a woman. I don't speak for men. Again, y'all know that, but especially as a woman, we have to always protect our rights to change and grow, evolve, revolve, you know, put it down, pick it back up. We have to protect those things. Because a lot of people see me as being indecisive. It's not that. If something works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does not work, I either get rid of it altogether, or I put a pin in it and save it for later to see if it's gonna work later. So with spirituality, my suggestion for expectation for you both in a relationship would be to expect change. That's what's guaranteed in a relationship, is change. Can't think of where this will fall in. Probably emotional, physical. One of the hot topics right now still is polygamy, polyamory, polygyny. Okay, basically put it like this here. If you know that you're monogamous, like by nature, not meaning by force, not meaning societally, but you know that you're monogamous, then you need to make that clear. And you need to make it clear that that's what you want your relationship to be. That you are not open to extra sister wives, brother husbands, if you're a guy, that you're not open to that. For me, I'm monogamous by choice. I don't think I'm monogamous by nature. My husband already knows that, so ain't no need none of y'all running go and telling him. He's monogamous by nature. Like the concept of anything other than just two people together is like it's just a foreign thing for him. And that's fine, because I know what I signed up for. I knew that before we ever got in a marriage. Like when we were dating, I knew that about him. What I did not know was about myself. I did not know that I was monogamous because of upbringing, because of church, because of I didn't have any other examples, because of the pressure for girls and women to be pure, all this garbage. So I never had a choice, and I'll venture to say that a lot of women in my family never had a choice, and that's why I don't see any examples of anything else, because that's usually the case. You see men step out, you see women pretend like they don't see the man step out, but you never really hear a lot about women stepping out. So you need to make sure that you do discuss that part, because a lot of people, I see stories of people getting married, and then, the guy, a lot of times, usually it's not the women so much. We catching up. But it's usually not the women so much, but all of a sudden they have this epiphany that they want more than one wife. And it's like, the women, because we have this bullcrap story of scarcity, like it's not enough men. I don't know what statistics y'all are looking at, but it's just not true. But there's this scarcity of men, and so I have to do anything my husband wants me to do, because if I don't, then I might not be able to find another man. I ain't never been short a man. Ever. Never, ever, ever. I don't know where y'all live, what kind of world y'all live in. I ain't never been short no dude to be with as a partner or whatever. So I think maybe you got to change your attitude, and you have to broaden your scope. That's what I think. But anyway, you need to have that discussion. Children. You need to discuss children. We discussed children before we got married. I was very clear, I don't want any more children. I have a boy and a girl. And I was very clear that if that was something that was going to be a deal breaker, then the deal shall be broken, because I wasn't birthing any more children. I have enough time for 2 children. That's it. I don't have no time for no extra children. I have people on my Facebook page, friends that I consider friends, like friends for real, that they have a slew of kids. Most of my friends have more kids than me, which is fine for them. I don't want no more children. And I made that very clear, and God bless my husband's heart. We got married, and I remember one day he turned over, he say, I think we need to have a baby. Could we already discuss this? I don't even know why you talking to me about this right now. It was not up for discussion. Like, I ain't trying to hear none of that at all. So the way the universe is set up, my sister knew that I didn't do the whole daycare thing before children can talk. So if something happened, you can communicate with me clearly what happened in daycare. So when my sister got pregnant with my niece, she asked me, she was like, were you serious about if I wanted you to watch her, because there was only one of them at the time, watch her, that, you would? Oh, yeah, sure, because I think I was homeschooling already. And, that cured him. Yep, sure did. having a Harlem baby in the house and you changing diapers all day and you on this child schedule all day. And I looked at him and smiled one day. I said, yeah, she go home in the evening. See, if we had one, that baby be here all day. And now mind you, this was not, she wasn't a titty baby or nothing like that. They're a little easier to soothe in my opinion. But honey, the way the universe is set up, yeah. So that's how that worked out. I still didn't birth no babies. But you need to have those discussions. So I'm trying to think and see if I left anything out. I think that's it. You do want to talk about child rearing. You want to talk about education needs for the kids. Y'all gonna homeschool or not. Things like that. But just the point is set the expectations. Let the person know clearly what you expect and get clear expectations from them. And sometimes it may be that the person needs to take some time and write them down for you. It's any kind of way to communicate them. But either way, no matter how they communicate it, y'all do want to come back together and actually discuss it to make sure that there's clarity. Because I had a friend that I suggested the same thing to her in her marriage before it dissolved, was, to ask him what is it that he wants, because he kept expressing very vague expectations and that she was falling short. So I said, well, ask him directly what he wants from you. What does he want? He was not able to express his expectations. Well, turns out later that it wasn't the expectations, it was that he was self-sabotaging. So that was a whole different thing. So anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you for the interactions. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the commentary and all that stuff that y'all give me, the feedback. Let me know, what are your expectations in a relationship? Even expectations in your friendships, what are they? Your expectations in business. Maybe we can discuss all those things in another video. But thank y'all so much for watching. Peace, love, abundance, and bliss. Self-love above all, okay? It's the foundation to everything else. Odabo.